Okay, a lot going on in the heavens. We're going to get to all that. I want to do some updates first, some announcements. PSAs, public service announcement. I'd like to start by thanking someone for the gift. I got it after Valentine's. A pear box with all kind of goodies. Pears and apples and cheeses and crackers and nuts. The best nuts I've literally ever had in my life. And I love nuts. They were Harry and David. And I'm very fond of walnuts and cashews. And the walnuts were some of the best I've ever eaten in my life. I highly recommend them. I'm going to ask you to do something kind of strange. And if it doesn't rub you the wrong way, then please do it. I'd like everybody to look over your right shoulder and just say, Etta needs help and to contact Wynn. Just do that for me. Lot going on in the Carolinas. People who were inundated with floods were then frozen to death, and now fires, and it's really crazy what's going on there. Extremely symbolic as well. But, speaking of symbolic, I've been looking at a lot of the programming, the symbology, and what the elite do. That's their language. That's how they communicate, through symbolism. And I finally got a very, I would say, authoritative confirmation on the 6/11 date. And it was in a thumbnail for the Super Bowl, that on one of the touchdowns, the jerseys, they stand side by side, and it was 6/11. And that's my third witness of them doing it the way they've always done it, in their magic that they do on the TV. Subliminal magic. Predictive programming, they call it all kind of stuff, but it's a spell, nonetheless, but they're also talking with each other. It's it really works on more than one level. It works on us subliminally, whether you're in the know or out of the know, whether it affects you that way or not. And then ironically, that's the thing that makes you people born with Pluto and Uranus, both in Virgo, you Pluto and Virgo generation, and then the end of the Leo generation was also Pluto and Uranus together. Your subconscious mind and your conscious mind are in the same house. So you have this, they're on the same level. You're in the know. You're in the know. You're not an NPC, which is really ironic because your symbol is the X, which is mutation. We were the latchkey kids. You had both parents working, and you pretty much raised yourselves. But this is your time. This has always been your time. And the media, the narrative controlling media, all of television actually, and all of radio, all of publishing, took the microphone away from you and gave it to a different generation that had Pluto and Scorpio. And it's not their time. They're out of season. They kind of did the same thing in the 60s, really. If you want to know the truth about it. But it was really seriously done to Gen X. All right, what else? I might think of a few more announcements along the way. but we're just going to get right into this. It's been a long month for me. Actually, wow. It seems like it's been a long year, just since the beginning of the year. It's been one battle after another. We've been really cold here. Finally, the sun has came out, so I feel like I'm coming out of hibernation. All right. Sun in Aquarius. Coming out of that water of life. We still have Saturn in Aquarius, but only for a short time more. Oops, wrong one. I need to change brains, get out of my memory bank and get into a different file in my head. All right, Saturn, we want to see when you are going to leave Pisces into Pisces. We're going to get another retrograde before then. Whoops. 4/18 is the last day in Aquarius. 4/19, first day in Pisces. Very auspicious time around these dates in April. Just a lot of strange birthdays and goings on, if you know what I mean. So we've got Saturn moving into Pisces. That's a big game changer, people. It's a big game changer. And it's a little over a year past the last eclipse. The big eclipse in last April. But this is a big one because it's going to be conjunct Venus. And Mercury's going to be there as well. Venus is exalted here. But Mercury is debilitated here. Nobody's retrograde there. So, date to watch a shift change. The shift change. It'll start 3 degrees before that, actually. So it'll start on the 16th. That energy will get really strong that day. It'll start mixing. You'll have the mixed energy of Saturn being in Aquarius, which is fixed air. He rules that house. It's part of the crown chakra. But he's going to move into Pisces, and this affects everybody because we're in the age of Pisces. And Venus being there, where more of in conjunct with Saturn, is a good sign. Because Venus, our heart chakra, ironically enough, is exalted in this age. And it kind of makes sense, really, because it's your way out. If you don't, you can't even get to your thalamus or pineal gland or God, if you want to just be technical about it, without going through your heart. We've been through this in Isaiah, where he talks about your rituals and your sacrifices and your feast days. All of this is an abomination to me. I want your love. I'm looking for someone with a broken and a contrite heart. And this is a wicked, wicked world. And you either end up with this cold heart, a dead heart, a heart of stone. But here Venus is exalted. And that's kind of our saving grace, if you would, for lack of a better term. Mercury debilitated here. You know, right now, with the energy on the earth between Virgo and Gemini, part of this mutable cross, Mercury is the only planet that's exalted in its own house, which is Virgo, across from Pisces. and he's debilitated here, which is your logic, your intelligence, your critical thinking skills, really. But at the same time, because the energy of Mercury is predominantly, right now, it's not Virgo. It's Gemini. And it's portraying itself as a feminine energy. It's portraying itself as a feminine energy because it is split. And we've been through this so many times. But Castor and Pollux are Remus and Romulus, Cain and Abel. Every twin set in mythology or religion you can think of, it has to do with this archetype and the storyline that goes along with it. And it's sibling rivalry. It's brother against brother. It's the twins. It's the two brothers. We even have this same saga playing out today with Harry and William. But one side is always very straight-laced, and the other side, it's like Theseus and Dionysus. The other one's just a drunken revelry. I don't even know the word for it, but very open sexually, with anything, even into bestiality. It's just wine and women and song. That's Dionysus. That's a Bacchus ritual that they always try to put off on Saturn. No, that's right here. This is Hermes and Hermaphrodite. And I think that pretty much sums up. Well, we're in the time of Gemini that the summer solstice keeps jumping back and forth between Taurus and Gemini. Those energies are mixed. And it jumps back and forth because we have this freaking leap year. So it makes it kind of go retrograde back into Gemini. And it's an extreme energy, especially when they mix. And you have 3 degrees of this. And 1 degree is 72 years. So we've had this mixture going on of these energies for at least 50% of this time, because it's jumping back and forth, 50-50. And that's quite a number of years. 2 degrees is 144. 3 degrees is 216 years. So this is the energy that has been, that number one, the elite seem to be worshiping right now, which he's fiat currency. This is money out of thin air. There's so much going on here. The rainbow, the unicorn. I mean, the symbolism is overwhelming. That they've moved away from Mercury over here as the Madonna of the church to here. And it's not really feminine energy, because all air signs are masculine. But it's a divided house, twins. A divided brain, a divided mentality. Mercury is upper chakra. He's your throat chakra. What comes out of your mouth either comes from your mind, which Mercury rules, or your heart, which Venus rules. And they're both right here, together, with Saturn, the crown chakra ruler. So, to me, this is a good sign. And on that day, the sun is even in Pisces. So I like this setup for humanity. Let's take a peek. Let's go back and take a peek at the equinox. So we're going to have Saturn in Aquarius. It's Venus retrograde there. Venus in a retrograde motion with Mercury, who is debilitated. Combust of the sun, both of them. So not a lot of communication, not a lot of heart into it, backwards heart, more of turning it to that heart of stone, or a naive, easily manipulated heart, also in retrograde. So not good energy from equinox to equinox. This energy here will play out from then until the fall equinox. But very good on the 19th of April. Jupiter, everybody loves being in Taurus. It's fixed earth. It's stable. It's a bull market. It's everything. It's one of the best constellations as far as day-to-day life. It's fixed earth. It's an earth sign, so it has to do with our work and our careers, our education, our businesses, being grounded, being stable, being fixed, being prosperous. Prosperous because Taurus has to do with saving money. Saving money. A Taurus person is good about saving money for their future. So it's not just surviving, it's thriving. You've got money to put back. Most of these days, if you're like me, you're rubbing pennies together. You find yourself at the coin star often, unfortunately. Okay, for the equinox, we're going to have Mars in Gemini, and that's coming out of the retrograde here. He's been in a retrograde out of Cancer. So Mars, your emotions, your sexuality and your emotions. Again, this is Gemini energy. It's mutable. And when your emotions are mutable, they can go to the extreme either way. Mars never does well on the mutable cross, which is so ironic because the Chi-Rho is the mutable cross with the rod of iron, which is Mars in Aries. And, but yeah, it never works. It just never works. War and money. That's what you're looking at right there. War and money. That's what's on the table. The fiat currency of Gemini and the energy of rage, especially it's on the masculine axis. So it's going to tend to lean more towards the emotional side of Mars, to where when Mars is in a feminine house, it's going to lean more towards the sexuality, which is Mars in Scorpio. And planets do that. They're going to reflect the energy of the house that they're in. As in here, Venus is going to reflect her Taurus energy because she's in a feminine house of Pisces. And Mercury, he's debilitated here, or he would be reflecting his Virgo energy. But this just amplifies this Gemini energy, because Mercury is not only debilitated there, he's combust of the sun. So a lot going on with the equinox. Wow, wow, wow. This is where, and it's at 60.7%, this is where the Vatican do their rituals. When the moon is in really Scorpio or Ophiuchus, because Ophiuchus is simply the upper house of Scorpio, as other constellations have. Every constellation has upper houses and lower houses, but the dominant energy is Scorpio itself. It's about friends and sexuality and all of that. He goes on the hero's journey to save his friends. Hercules, right? So the moon here is where the Vatican does their rituals. And it's ironic because, which is again Mars, ruled by Mars, but the Freemasons do their rituals when the moon is here in Taurus. This is what my observations, going back and looking at when they do things, whether it's going to be on a spiritual level or a Masonic level. Of course, Taurus is black for Earth, and Scorpio is white. So you're looking at the black and white squares on the checkerboard floor. That's how it's laid out. So this is what we've got coming up for the equinox. And oh, as well, Neptune is in Pisces as well. Going to be there for a while. Pluto in Capricorn. Uranus over here with Jupiter. So the conscious mind, very much in tune with Jupiter being your desires, empire, expansion, more, good fortune. So our minds are on that. This is where the public general mindset's going to be at. Is prospering, thriving, not just surviving. I want to swap this over just because it helps me to look at it, the symbolism and everything, from this perspective. Spend a lot of time in the Oriental symbolism of things compared to the Greco-Roman. It just has different things to offer. Sirius, the northern shining one. Shining one. That's capitalized, number one. And shining one is the translation that we get for the word Nakash, which is the serpent in the garden, the shining one. Sirius, dog star. Sun in the belly of the whale. What's Venus up there? Nothing else really jumps out at me. Let's go to, actually, this Saturn energy moving over in here. Let's go back to the 19th. Venus just coming out of retrograde. So it was almost like Venus and Saturn were running to each other, which I can very well see that. And when they meet, they turn around and go in the same direction. Mars is in a retrograde. No, he's going forward there. When does Mars go back into Cancer? Oh, that's going to already be in Cancer. When do you move back into Cancer? Because that's a... so, 4/11, 4/11, last day in Gemini. 4/12, Mars... No, 4/12 is the last day in Gemini. 4/13, Mars moves back into Cancer. So when Saturn moves into Pisces on the mutable cross, Mars is going to move into Cancer on the cardinal cross, both in water. And Mars is debilitated in Cancer. Remember, we done talked about this, that after this date, right here, anybody that starts crap, if you start a fight, an argument, a war, whoever starts it, whoever throws the first stone, loses. You don't go, because your Mars rules cardinal fire, and this cardinal water puts that fire out. This is a feminine aspect of the cardinal cross, and that's Mama's house. It's ruled by the moon. It's got the beehive constellation in it. And you know how they talk about the queen bee. Well, that's what Cancer is. That's what that energy is. And it puts that Mars energy in check. You come into my house now, kind of thing. So, keep yourself in check. And then when Mars comes out of Cancer, he's jumping out of the water back into fire, literally in the mouth of the lion. So it's almost like he's being held back and suppressed. That energy gets suppressed while it's in Cancer. So when it hits that fixed cross, it's like a horse coming out of the gate at the Kentucky Derby. It's just really fast, and you got to learn to keep yourself in check, this whole thing. But a lot going on in the world. I know it can be scary, but 99% of everything you're looking at is all staged. And I'm kind of have this mindset of we've all done this before. In a way, you could use the word predestined, because it's going to happen again. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. We've all done this before. This is a rerun, a replay, a redo, a do-over. Yeah, it's a Hollywood do-over. We've done all this storyline before, because everything keeps going around in circle, people. I always say, don't worry about it. What comes around goes around. Everything comes around and goes around. Wow, Moon in Virgo when Mars moves into water. So we have the Sun in water, Mars in water, Saturn in water, the Moon in water, Neptune in water, Saturn in water, Mercury in water, Venus in water. Wow. I would say April's going to be a very wet month. Wouldn't you? All right. I need to pause and get me a drink. All right. I'm going back over here, because this is our saving grace, our hearts, our secret safe place. You want a secret safe place? It's in your own heart. The heart triggers the thalamus. A broken heart will instantly trigger the thalamus. Grieving does as well, which you generally grieve from a broken heart. And it triggers the thalamus, which is the door to the pineal gland, which is the door out of here. I don't know what to say about all this water. Water can be very cleansing. This is an age of water. Everything here is about water. Our political system, our laws, our economic system, everything is about water. It's all based on maritime law and commerce law, and banking all uses maritime. It's everything is run by it. It's one big machine, one big business. one big monster out of the sea. It's a hydra. But one day, we'll all be over here. And it can happen in the twinkling of an eye. The kingdom is now within you if you want to go there. If you do go there, don't ever come back. Not in this age. This is a tough classroom right here. Especially the time we're in, all this deception. The upside down information, the mixing of informations, the confusion, the deception. It's a very deceptive time. But it's all written up here, symbolically, if we can learn to read it. I'm still learning. I've had very little time to even get into anything lately. I have just been work. My brother lost his new job. Luckily, he got another one, but that still was a setback. Now I've got to have more different uniform. It's got a couple benefits, though. It's got better hours. It's closer. And he seems happier about it. But the other place, they were getting very political. People were getting fired left and right. They're having a DEI woke war in there. Being corporate and all, so he lost that battle. I'm not really interested in the political arena myself. I leave unto Caesar Caesar's business, and I'll be about mine. Because there's nothing we can do to change the world, but change ourselves. And me, I choose not to focus on what's really going on. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know what's going on. I'm not completely oblivious to world affairs or the weather or what's going on in my neighborhood. But I don't focus on it. I don't dive into it. I don't run down rabbit holes anymore. I don't have to. I see it for what it is. A thumbnail passing. I might watch a video that's got a whole bunch of stuff, what's going on, compilated together real quick. Unless it directly affects something I happen to be studying at the time, or that is relevant to what my focus is, which is staying in the upper chakras, staying in the right frequency, being as kind as I can be to others, trying to be the love, be the kindness. I would rather walk in nature than walk in a mall. Not worldly. Just stay in your upper chakras, and especially your heart chakra, and you'll be okay. I bit my tongue the other day, and it's just not been right since. I feel like I'm talking with a lisp. All right, well, let's jump back to today. I didn't even start it today, which is 3/5. All right. See, very different picture here. We still have the sun in that water of life, which is a great place for it. For us. And Saturn's still here with the sun. The last few days that we'll get Saturn in Aquarius for another 30 years. Mercury debilitated, which it's obvious, complete communication breakdown. You see that across the board in the media when you're talking about politics. It's just nobody, neither side are talking to each other. They're screaming at each other. It's unbalanced. It's unhinged. So you gotta take your focus off your Mercury and keep your focus on your Venus. And then there's these over here, which is the conscious mind, ironically with the moon here right now, and Jupiter. The general masses, the energy, the collective conscious mind, not the collective subconscious. The collective conscious mind is over here with Jupiter. Just wanting to go to work, wanting to make some more money, get things going. It's empire, it's desire, it's expansion, it's, yeah. That's what's going on over here. Work, 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 work. This is today now. Mars over here between the twins. He couldn't be any more psychotic here. Mars on this masculine axis, again, it's going to tend to be more aggressive on that mutable cross, to where when he falls in Virgo or Pisces, it's more on the sexual side of it. But here it can be very aggressive because it's unstable. It's crisscrossed. It's on the crisscross. It's on the X. And of course, I want to talk about Elon Musk's symbol of what was the blue bird, which is Gemini. Air and blue both go over there to Gemini. Gemini is the only constellation that carries the color blue. So, and its symbol is should be a red X, because it's air and it's mutable. So that would be a red X. X for mutable and red for air. But it has two X's. So one's blue for one twin and one red for the other. The red and the blue, the divided. But here, and the Catholic Church rules that, right? The Chi-Rho. They rule that X, and they rule it with Mars. Who's right there? This is a Chi-Rho right here. But here, Elon Musk's symbol, is what I'm going to call it, the X symbol. It's actually a play on the Chi-Rho. Because one, it's a black X. So that means Virgo. Black for Earth and X for mutable. That's Virgo. But you also have the other slant white X. So they're playing Mars in Scorpio. White. Water. Mars in Scorpio. So his is Virgo, Mercury, exalted with Mars in the feminine aspect of friendship and sexuality, to where this Chi-Rho is a red X or a blue X with Mars here, the Chi-Rho, which is what 611 is about. All this is about a Chi-Rho. I just don't know how to explain it any other way. And it all started way back with Constantine, when he saw the cross in the sky, and God told him, you take this symbol and you go forth and conquer. And that's what they've been doing ever since. But for some reason, through symbolism, we've been lied to and we were told that cross that he saw was a Tau. It was not a Tau. A Tau doesn't conquer, but a Chi-Rho does. And Chi-Rho is 2 Greek letters. 9/11. 6/11. The Chi is an X. The Rho, it looks like the letter P to us. Windows XP. Windows Chi-Rho. XP. That's what's going on right there, right now. And Il Papa from the Italian, is not very well right now. Il Papa, very ill. If he's still with us at all. I don't trust anything they say, which he's not really a pope. He wasn't elected. To me, Francis is in the book of, I want to say Daniel, where this guy's brought in by flattery. He wasn't elected. He was brought in by flattery. And they placed all this power and position on him. And he understood dark things. He knew the symbolism because he was a Jesuit. The first Jesuit pope. Are under the black pope. So we have the black pope is Jesuit. And no white pope could ever be a Jesuit. That's literally their own law. But they have one now. So actually there's no such thing as a white pope. We have 2 black popes. All right, I think about wrap that up. Y'all know what to do, people. I wanted to get this out while I have a chance because I literally have not had a day off this, and I have company coming in, so I need to work absolutely as much as possible. And poor Kelly, we had severe storm roll through here yesterday. The tornado sirens going off everywhere, and one did touch down not too far from us over in Ada. And but she's lost her mind when that happens, and it takes her a while to get over it. And it finally stopped raining just a few hours ago. It was the last storm rolled through here, so she's crashed right now. And me, I'm tired too. All right, people, I love y'all bunches. You know what to do. Commit your random acts of kindness truly from the heart, from that real place of love. From Venus is exalted right now, and we need, is she retrograde? Yeah, she's going into her retrograde right now. So things will be tough, but don't let it get you down, because when she turns around, she's going to meet Saturn there. And that's going to be really great for all of us. So you commit the random act of kindness, even when it hurts, even when she's retrograde. And it'll pay off for you in the long run, more than you ever know. And why do I keep saying this? Because ask anyone that's ever had a near-death experience that's had a life review, and they're going to tell you that the most important things were the little things that you do that mean so much to other people. Did you love my sheep? And expecting nothing in return, just giving sheerly out your time, your energy, money, whatever. Time is better. Giving them your attention and your ear and a shoulder to lean on. Being that good Samaritan that picked the guy up out of the ditch when all the Jewish people kept walking by him because he was filthy in the ditch. They're not going to touch him. But you picked him up out of that ditch. Be that guy, because that's the guy Jesus was. If you want to call him that, it's not a problem. I get that question a lot myself. If I was going to use that name, I would use it in the Greek, which is Iosus. But to me, the Greek was the written language. Back then, they spoke in Aramaic. And they never really told you what his name was, if you want to be honest about it. Because this word, Thalem, that I use, that's literally a star in the heavens, is what they called him. But it can be translated many ways. And we get that master, teacher, rabbi, educator. That's what they called him. Was Thalem. He's the teacher. It's Fomalhaut. It's the mouth of the fish. It's the fish mouth. The Aztec calendar, it's not Mayan, it's freaking Aztec. It has a fish tongue. It has the fish mouth. It's a clock. It's a zodiac is what it is. And it has the mundane day-to-day calendar that goes this way, and then the long count calendar that goes this way. And they tell two different stories. And it's the same like this in every religion, in every zodiac. You got two different things going on right now. Because we have our day-to-day lives that's mundane, that runs by the moon every month. You get your bill, you get your period, it goes month to month to month. Everything's about water, about the moon, about the water. But this way is about the sun and its story. Our lives are lived out through the stories of the moon. But our spirit and our soul and civilization and destiny and is all written out by the sun. And it's a long, drawn out, slow, it's the tortoise. And the moon is the hare. Run, run, go, 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 go. Alright, people. If my channels help you, won't you please consider making a donation or being a sponsor and help me keep it coming to you.